Hey, welcome back to Mail. It feels weird to be doing this on a weekday, but these are unusual times and I'm still trying to figure things out. And sometime soon, I hope I do. Enjoy playoff runs, and other sporting success, while they're happening. Because a lot can change by the next season, or series, as the Toronto Raptors guard have learned. Alex Brandon, The Associated Press. Until then, here's this: I'll get to deciding what days work best this week on my limited return and we'll let you know. Have fun. Q. Hello Doug. Article continued below. First off, welcome back. It's great to have you as part of the almost daily routine again. It just feels right. I noticed that eventually the star will go behind a paywall. You can pass on to the tall foreheads that the main reason I will fork over the dough is to be able to read you. Hopefully that will help you add a few more pennies to your coffers. All the best on your road to recovery. Santino. I appreciate that very much. And, yes, we are headed toward a subscription-based service. I don't have any more details, and I will only say that good and important journalism costs money to produce, and we, like every other publication on earth, have to find ways necessary to generate that income. I truly believe we do good and important work that benefits society as a whole, and I would hope readers do, too, and will sign up to help us in that pursuit. Article continued below. We can, however, tell you with great certainty that the trickle-down impact of a subscription service won't help my bottom line. What it will do is allow me to keep doing my job well and perhaps better, and that's pretty important. Q. Welcome back Doug. Your return to duty is a sight for sore eyes, or for whatever ails ya. Re-TV viewing suggestions. Outlander on Netflix. B-Ball Bear. See, the star held off introducing online paid subscription until you returned, and you are totally worth it. I'll check the old Netflix soon as I can. And I'm not sure about worth it, but I think many now realize the importance of good journalism and the fact it costs money to produce. That goes further than investigative or big-ticket items. It could trickle down to some level of regular season travel for beat grunts to keep fans up to date on what's happening with their teams. Q. Welcome back. Thanks, Doug, for good historical recognition of what Coach Casey achieved during his long tenure here. It's a sign of the NBA in modern times that we recall the recent past, especially when a team falls short, at the expense of the overall record. Has it always been thus in NBA? Our Bach and Pops lasted a long time, but now the average tenure seems pretty short. Many did encourage us to enjoy the ride this past successful season, but the big prize was always there, waiting, and spoiling our enjoyment of that very fine season, to shape our final judgment. What advice have you got for us when it comes to balancing the ride with the ultimate outcome? Charles N.A. I honestly don't think people should fixate on the longer term, as hard as that is, because there are too many variables that come into play, both controllable and external, and to do that basically guarantees ultimate disappointment. And that takes away from the true joy and essence of sport, which is competition on a one-off basis that entertains us, and allows us to marvel at athletic achievement. Sports is immediate and it evokes passion in the moment, and worry about what the ultimate result might be vis-a-vis a championship diminishes that. I've felt like that forever. I've tried to make that point in the way I write and go about my job, and I can only hope it sinks in. Q. Sir, has Diego Maradona risen to the top of the not-to-be-seen, heard-from again category? What a bore. Paul M.A. Man, that guy is wearing me out. Should be a moratorium on any video whatsoever. It's embarrassing to even look at, isn't it? Oh, and dumping shots of all kings, queens and other heads of state would be okay with me. Q. Hello Doug. I think I'll be the millionth person by now to be thankful for your return and wish you well and good health, but please don't dismiss the sincerity. I don't think you will. It is a blessing to have this small corner of the universe active again. I'll be short. What is your opinion of this idea of an opener in baseball? Seems to make a lot of sense, even if tradition is woefully disrespected. All the best. Mike T. Kelowna BCA. Sorry. I think it's a fad that will pass in short order. I don't think it's sustainable. The wear and tear will ultimately catch up with staffs because no one will eat requisite innings to provide rest, and I don't know that teams can restructure rosters and staffs to make it work long term. It's cute at the moment, though. Q. Doug. Good to hear your health is moving in the right direction. Not to make light of your recent issues, but your blog entry stating, "There is no timetable for your return," was absolutely the most fitting line that could be written about your status at the time. Anyway, with the Paul George signing comes a hefty tax bill for the Thunder. What are some of the top teams that are best set up for success in the near future, in terms of both on-the-court success and financially? In other words, what are the teams that are championship contenders that lie near or below the luxury tax threshold? Also a Jay's question for you, with everything that has happened with the team up to this point, is this the most disastrous season that the team has seen in a long time? Between injuries to key players such as Donaldson and Tulo that have major ramifications going forward, to an aging core of underperforming guys with undesirable contracts, to a rotation that has vastly underwhelmed up to this point, to as soon as issues, missing the playoffs this season is as sure a thing as it can be. Sure, we have Vlad and the young guys to look forward to in future seasons, but has this season gone completely down the toilet? Thanks, Drive. Justina, since we won't know until the end of the regular season next April which teams are taxpayers and by how much, it's impossible now to say who is best poised both financially and competitively. As for the Jays, this truly has been a disaster at so many levels, and I don't even think the impending arrival of Guerrero and/or Bichette is going to mean any quick fix. This mess is long-lasting and as a result, I think, of roster mismanagement for years. They are seasons away from being seasons away from consistent contention. Q. So Doug. Where were we? Of course, the first thing to say is to ask how you are, to tell you how wonderful it is to have you back, and to have all of us back together reading your thoughts, and to wonder, how do we chart our basketball course now? What will make you happy? What have you been given the green light to do? I'm not going to ask about the chances of LeBron coming to Toronto, nor to ask your thoughts on various free agency, trade and extension rumors, but what did Eric Kareen mean about RJ Barrett looking good in an Atlanta Hawks uniform? Instead, I'm going to offer a couple of practical suggestions based on requests for them from you, about ways to eat more healthy and less saltily, that is a word by the way, and spend quality TV watching time as you continue to regroup and restore and revive. First, the reduced salt thing. Liberal use of other herbs and spices might help. And did you know that you can grow many of your own on your deck? Fresh sweet basil, dill, chives, parsley, rosemary, sage. Hey, are you hearing a certain Simon? And you can make your own salsa with fresh herbs and fresh veggies. And looking for something completely different on television? Have you caught up on Tina Fey's We Still All Love Her, right? Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. And if you haven't discovered it yet, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is addictive nuttiness. And there's 5 seasons. And it sounds as though you like crime dramas, so I'm going to recommend the thoroughly enjoyable modern-day western. Hey, do you ever watch Chuck Connors, The Rifleman, on AMC Saturday mornings? Kind of fun to watch again, chronicling the adventures of a sheriff in Wyoming. So there's a few things. Try what you like, ignore what you don't. But mainly it's just so good to have you back to share all our stuff and nonsense with you. It wasn't the same around here without you. Welcome back. Lori P., London. Really looking forward to the FIBA Women's World Cup in Spain this September. Do you know if we'll be able to watch it on TSN or Sportsnet? Or is it likely to be DAZN? I appreciate all the advice and ideas and will put into place as many of them as I can. But my green thumb abilities are scant. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is outstanding. I think Kareen's crack about the Hawks meant he expects them to be the worst team in the league and to take RJ No. on in next June's draft. And, no, I am told that neither Canadian Sports Network has any plans to, or capability to, obtain rights to the Women's Worlds, so they will only be available on live streaming. And that's shameful on the part of both TSN and Sportsnet. Q. It has been a pleasure reading your blog on your thoughts again. Every off-season has its own unique characteristics that were a result of where the team was coming from and where it hopes to be going. This summer different trades could send this franchise in different directions and set different expectations for the upcoming season. Until a trade is actually completed, it is hard to envision the type of team it will be under a new coaching staff. How does this off-season compares to previous off-seasons in regards to the level of intrigue related to the direction the team could be headed in? Has there ever been an off-season where it been this unclear on July 1st? Kavina, this is a weird off-season, no question about it. The big move, one would think, has been made with the dismissal of Dwayne Casey, but there's also a sense that some sort of roster shakeup is due, but no one can guess what it will be. Plus, there is no money to be spent, the rest of the league doesn't have the ability to make major moves, and there is some feeling of overall inertia when there should be a sense of impending moves. It truly is weird and would be right up there with the oddest in history. Q. Doug, great to see you back in action and are on the mend. Concerning all this hoopla with Foz and the Kawhi saga, it seems the league is descending into a player-first mentality who drives where they go and ultimately which teams are going to be successful. If this continues to perpetuate, which I cannot see abating anytime soon, do you believe the league will become like MLB where the teams with money, large markets survive, whilst the others are destined for mediocrity? Granted, I am not familiar with TV rights revenue sharing and the like, which may be favorable for smaller teams, but it does seem that the big market, storied franchises will see a net benefit. Suppose as Toronto supporters we can only hope that this generation of young Canadian talent wants to play at home. Cheers, Jamila. Hate to point this out, but the NBA has been a players' league for decades and that's not about to change. But the presence of a salary cap, even with myriad exceptions, and revenue sharing along with an equitable distribution of the billions in TV money assures each franchise has the income to compete. It takes luck, good decision-making, a bit more good fortune and astute management for one team to stand out from the others. So, no, I don't see it turning into a replica of any of the other major North American leagues. Q. Hi Doug, first of all welcome back. As someone who had quadruple bypass in 1992, I have a pretty good idea what you're going through. My question relates to Raptors president Masai Ujiri. I wonder how much responsibility he should be taking in relation to what ails the Raptors. After all, it's not Dwayne Casey's fault Ujiri signed Norm Powell to a massive contract last year. It's not his fault Ujiri also signed Ibaka, Darrison and Lowry to their contracts. It's not his fault Carroll didn't pan out. The only one that doesn't seem to get criticized is Ujiri, and I include the media in rarely criticizing him, and I'm not sure why. Didn't he own a lot of this for some very questionable moves? I like Ujiri as much as anybody, but as Harry Truman once famously said and had a sign on his desk to prove it, the buck stops here, Stana. Yes, the buck does stop with the president and he knows it, you know it, I know it, the players and ownership knows it. And, frankly, he's done a tremendous job over the past 6 years building a consistently good, winning team. Dwayne was in some ways scapegoated for the roster failings, but the coach was also lauded for years for what the team accomplished under his guidance. But you don't have to tell Masai that his neck is on the line, and he's quite fine with that, it's what he signed up for. Oh, and I personally have no problem with any of the contracts that were doled out. Q. Wonderful news to know that you are back. There are no words to describe the shock and emptiness that we, all our regulars, felt when we heard the news of your heart attack. Thankfully, you are back and we are all so happy for you. Best wishes for a complete recovery. I know that this sort of thing will take some time to get back to normal, with a whole lot of sacrifice in the form of diet and lifestyle, but it is well worth it. Now for the Raptors. I was very disappointed that they let go the coach. That was uncalled for, especially after winning Coach of the Year. Let's hope that this summer we'll see some acquisitions that will help round out the team and make them more competitive. After seeing the stacked teams like the GSW and the Cavs, it will take a lot to get the Raps to that level. Thanks for all you do. It is appreciated. Alice CA, thanks very much. It feels good to be back on even a limited basis for a few weeks, months. And even given the team's success over the past half-decade, this is a big summer and a big season coming to see how they stack up. Might be a fun ride. Q. Doug. Just found out you're back, at least part-time. Great to see. You've been missed. Hope you can give us the scoop on what may happen to make the Raptors better next year. The way their season ended this year was probably the biggest disappointment in the team's history, well, except maybe for how the Alonzo Mourning trade turned out. By the way, you can enjoy meals without salt, just add more herbs and spices, especially curry powder. Take care. David Cooper D'Mentona, yes, it was a disappointing end to the season, especially after posting the best record ever and one of the top 3 win totals in the entire league in what was by far the best regular season ever. And given that 28 other teams felt the same measure of disappointment when their season ended, the job is to make a few tweaks, get more internal growth and hope for as much success next year as well. I don't think there has to be any major change to the roster, and I think that's an opinion shared by many of the tall foreheads who run the organization. Inside scoop. What I've got so far is that they may not make any substantial change, and I'm not sure that's a bad tack to take. Q. Man, is your inbox going to get filled asking for good shows to watch? These are all great multi-seasoners worthy of binge-watching, and I'm sure you're familiar with some. Lillehammer, NJ Mobster goes on witness protection to Lillehammer, Norway. You'll laugh every episode. Stars Bruce Springsteen's lead guitarist, who does a hilarious classic mobster. He also had a role in The Sopranos, Longmire, rural sheriff in Wyoming's Company, World War II spy drama about spies trained in Canada at Camp X scandal, U.S. political thriller The Good Wife, lawyer, political drama Narcos, Colombian drug cartel vs. Dia, historical drama, Line of Duty, Brit crime drama Blacklist, crime drama Homeland, CIA drama Justified, U.S. Marshal, rural Kentucky. Doesn't appear to be on Netflix right now. A few years old. So glad you're back in print and on a stool. Brad W. Curtin ABCA, much appreciated. The list grows. I'm a big fan of Narcos and The Blacklist, have seen almost every episode of each, and Lillehammer is high on the to-do list. The others are now, too. Doug Smith is a sports reporter based in Toronto. Follow him on Twitter, @SmithReps.